Let's turn now to your 17 Health Watch. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force changing its recommendations for women's mammograms. Dr. Nicole Gordon, a breast surgical oncologist here in town, joined us on Sunrise today to explain this change.
Good morning, Dr. Gordon.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so let us know what is behind this shift from 50 now to 40 from this task force.
Yes, so overall, the age of cancer onset for multiple cancers is actually dropping. And so definitely that is also occurring for breast cancer. So for example, for colon cancer, we used to screening colonoscopies at 50, but now it's dropped to 45. And so the same thing is happening for breast cancer patients, or trying to screen for that, used to be 50 and then now dropping to 40, which honestly data has actually supported that for quite some time.
Okay, so that was one thing I noticed that was interesting, because I already thought the recommendation was 40, and that's because according to several other organizations,
yes,
it was already set at 40. The American Cancer Society said you should start at 40. So did the American College of Radiology. So why the difference in these different recommendations? And if it changes again, because it changed in 2016, I think.
Yes.
If it changes again, who do you listen to?
That is actually a very good question. And honestly, when I was in medical school, we were confused as well, because we were aware of the different ages. The truth is that each organization is coming from a different perspective. The U.S. Preventative Task Force is about prevention, whereas other institutions like the American Cancer Society and the American College of Radiology, they're more treatment-based groups, or groups that work with patients who are afflicted with certain diseases. And so that is why absolutely for breast cancer surgeons, we say start at 40, because we see what happens. That is, I think, is one of the big differences.
Okay.
So when trying to wade through it all, you know, I'm a very strong proponent of go talk to your primary care provider, and really more and more we're encouraging get your original evaluation about your breast health in particular at age 25.
Wow.
And then there, other things come into play, the genetic testing that we've talked about before, and when to start screening, and then also how often.
Because really it comes down to each individual, whether or not you should start, you know, earlier due to family history. Do dense breasts play a role here as well?
Absolutely.
When to screen and how to screen?
Absolutely. Dense breast tissue, your family history, and then again, the genetic mutation.
Okay.
But I will have to say that with the U.S. Preventative Task Force recommendations, just going back to that, they do say every other year, but I do have to say we as clinicians are holding steadfast, it's got to be every year. And we do that regardless of when you start. Okay? Regardless of when you start. Now, it's different when you are in your more mature years, if you will.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you have an overall low risk factor, but I do have to say as a clinician, I'll still advocate for every year.
Okay, now does that change these recommendations now every other year? Is that going to change what our insurance is going to cover?
You know, but the thing is that from my experience, no.
Okay.
And because there are so many recommendations.
Right.
And ultimately, the provider ultimately generally wins, in that if we make a recommendation, if we are concerned, we can always have a conversation with the insurance company if they want to deny or don't want to give authorization. But I have to say, I've never run into that problem.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So I think it really, what we just want to sum this all up saying, start early talking to your doctor and see what your recommendation is. Because it could be earlier than 40 even.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you for breaking that down for us this morning, Dr. Gordon. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you.